Well, I saw online that if James Franklin is winning playoff games and blowouts, we got too many teams. Uh,
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and on today's Road Down Thursday edition, we're going to talk college football playoffs and also bowl game predictions. Let's go ahead and get started. And before I introduce the panel, I'm mad because, as Mike Wilbon says on PTI, shut up. In the 14 playoff era, from 2014 to 2023, the average margin of victory in the first round was 17.9 points. And if you add the national title game, the margin of victory is 18.6 points. The average spread for the quarterfinals, that first round this year, 19.3 points. So the difference is 1.4 points. So Lane Kiffin, shut up. Okay. There's always blowouts. Every year there's blowouts, and no one cares that you didn't make it. You do the rules, and your team stunk. Don't lose to Kentucky, and we don't have to talk about it. Okay. Joining us today, our favorite team leader is here, Mike King, and George Ockard, our academic and athletic consultant, is joining us today. George, December 31st, Fiesta Bowl. Glendale, Arizona. I've had the pleasure of being at that wonderful facility twice, once for WrestleMania, once for the Final Four. We've got Boise State and Penn State. We are. Who do you have winning that game? And can the BCA keep chugging along, sir?
I probably got Penn State winning that game. I want to see Gentry go, and I want to see him against a top level defense or top supposed top level defense. But yeah, I'll take Penn State. I'll take Penn State with the money before that one.
All right, Mike King, Boise State versus Penn State. I finally won some money. Thank you, Coach Franklin, after 40 times. But anyway, who you got, Boise State or Penn State?
well, I saw online that if James Franklin is winning playoff games and blowouts, we got too many teams. Uh, but I'm going Penn State. Penn State was given the best draw. When this thing came out, it was like Duke in the Coach K era when you saw him. Wow, they just let him go in the Final Four. Great. That's what they gave to James Franklin. So I hope he enjoys it, and then hopefully he loses to the next one.
He's still got that Duke stuff running hard at him. But this is all good. Go ahead.
George, I got to stay on this one because Penn State's game was like in wrestling, all of the stipulations. So the guy can win the match. You have no disqualification. You got this, you got that. They had a whiteout. They had the game at 12 noon. It was cold outside. They're like, okay, now we can go play. And they won. So I'll take it. But yeah, it was an old school match with the referee changing the rules. That's the game that's going on.
And it's what I see a lot of times. Okay. And this is why I said, and this is why I called you in such a frenzy and was like, something's got to be done on how these games are set up, because you give Penn State home field advantage. Well, all of the home teams get home field advantage. A lot of the teams they're playing against have never been on a stage that big. You saw that with SMU. SMU came out pure stage fright, and you saw that in every one of the games. And Penn State was hand-delivered 3 touchdowns before the game even got going. Penn State's defense in no way stopped SMU all day long. So somebody show me where if that game is played at SMU or a neutral site, that game is a totally different game, because SMU was so much faster than Penn State. They went up and down the field on them on all 3 drives. And all 3 drives, we had a quarterback who's got the tight ass and wound up throwing 2 pick sixes, and should have been 3 pick sixes because the third one almost went down the field anyway. So in a big game like that, you got all that pressure on you. You've never been there. You don't know how to handle it. This is the result for a team that has never been on top of the cold and everything else. You saw it last night. The cold get to Tennessee in the middle of down there in South Bend. In Ohio State. They're sitting in the shoe. You got 175,000 people. Yeah, Tennessee fans sprinkled in there. But Tennessee, let's be honest, y'all, since Peyton days, Tennessee has never been on that stage. Their coaching staff hasn't been there. Those kids haven't been there. And I can run down the list. It was the same scenario in every one of them. The only ones that knew how to do it and take a punch was Clemson. Dabo and them had been there. They knew what to do. And I'm telling you right now, Clemson's a good team. We knew Clemson was. We just knew Dabo would have a way to mess things up, which winds up happening. And he's just like he's like one or two dudes short. But here lately, Clemson gets on these big stages and they wind up having a problem. They did it against Georgia early, and this happened to them again. They almost came back, but then the wheels fell off because they tried to do too much at once. So, I mean, they got to do something to restructure this. This would be those games would be so much better, and we'd have different outcomes if they were structured different.
All right. So January 1st, New Year's Day, Peach Bowl. Atlanta, Georgia, Arizona State going against Texas. Mike King, does Arizona State even have a shot, or this is fattening up frogs for Snake?
They got a shot. It's football. They got a shot, but I mean, anyone who's betting actual money is going to put it on Texas. Texas,
they're going to
Texas
try to
played a better schedule. They've got the better player. They've got they got the star. Well, they got two quarterbacks better than anyone that most schools have, and they've played. They've done it. They just beat Clemson. You look at Clemson versus Arizona State, you'd probably say Clemson will win. So, I mean, give me Texas.
George, Arizona State's coach, young fella, brash, hanging out in the dorms. Do they have anything for Texas?
The last time we saw a coach hanging out in the dorm, it didn't go too well. Anyway, I think they got a chance. Can they block that defensive line of Texas? I don't know. I don't know. Their running back should make it maybe a little interesting, maybe for a quarter, we hope. But I'd rather see Clemson. I'd rather see Texas play Clemson again. Texas wouldn't want to play Clemson again and not be given a touchdown or two. But hey, I'm with King. If you're gonna bet, you're betting on Clemson. I mean, you're betting on Texas.
All right, January 1st, in the traditional 5 p.m. slot, the Rose Bowl, and it's a rematch. Oregon going against Ohio State. Ryan Day, he doesn't have a monkey off his back, but boy, he's sleeping a little better. And for 3 weeks, he gets to say a little something positive. George, as a coach, one of the hardest things in football, especially, is to play the same team twice in the same season because it's not the NFL, it's college. Oregon or Ohio State, who you got, sir?
Well, I know Ryan Day's glad it's not Michigan. This is what the hell is going on here? How am I the number one team, the number one seed in the damn playoff, and I get this? I get the draw pool of Michigan and Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State and Tennessee. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. I take Oregon. They've stepped to the bell every time. But yeah, you're right. In college, to beat a team again twice, it's a tough thing to do. I wouldn't want to do it, but I mean, it's gonna be a knockdown, drag out fight right there. It's an old school Rose Bowl date. Oregon will probably be the favorite, so we'll see what happens.
Okay, Mike King again, the traditional 5 p.m. slot. Yeah, you got a Pac-10 team against a Big Ten team, even though they're in the same conference. Who you got, Oregon or Ohio State?
So the first time they played, it was a 1-point game in Oregon. Ohio State's not scared of Oregon. Ohio State's not concerned about playing in the Rose Bowl. They've played in the Rose Bowl a ton of times. I got Ohio State. I think Oregon. They've won all the games that they had to win. They looked okay. They haven't looked like the clear cut. This isn't a year of a clear cut number one. They're so much better than everybody else. Again, Ohio State doesn't. They don't want to see Michigan. They're fine seeing Oregon. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win 7-10. I think it'll be comfortable.
Okay. All right. And finally, January 1st, the Sugar Bowl, New Orleans, 8:45. I hope I can stay awake. You got Georgia, you got Notre Dame. I don't know if Jake's going to this one. Probably is. George, who do you have? And let's hope Georgia gets rides home. I'm sorry, that's my fault. What you got?
Well, I'm worried more about McConaughey getting around because he's a regular on Bourbon Street. He'll have his shirt off.
Well, it's Georgia, so he probably won't be there.
I got Georgia. We've said all year, and I think everybody's all year thought they were the hands down toughest team in college football. They're the one nobody really wanted to play. It's just up to them whether they show up or not, because we've had times when they haven't, and then they get caught in a dog fight, i.e. Georgia Tech. So yeah, I think I'd go with Georgia.
All right. King, what you got? Georgia or Notre Dame? Marcus Freeman got the new contract. You know what happens when you get a new contract.
Give me Georgia in one of those 19-point blowouts that you were talking about. Notre Dame, again, they've beaten Indiana is a good, nice story. That's the best team they've beaten all year. Notre Dame is just smoke and mirrors. I think deep down we all know it. When the blowout happens next week, we'll be here going, yeah, Notre Dame sucks. So I'm not gonna wait until next week to say it. I'm gonna say it right now. Notre Dame sucks. Georgia kills them. We know it's gonna happen. And the other thing, I'm fine with all these. Indiana gets blown out SMU. They're not ready. That's fine. It's fine. I'd rather see that than see Alabama play. They had chances all year. So next year for the committee, let Indiana or the next Indiana come back and get their shot. And if they lose, they lose. Who cares? We don't need to just see the eighth best team in the SEC. We don't need to. We've seen it. Give this team, because the 1 year in Indiana advances and has a nice run, guess what? It's like basketball, the NCAA tournament, which everyone loves because the Cinderella sometimes happen. That's what we want deep down, is an Indiana to have won this game. So committee, don't screw it up. Don't overreact to this year. Let the Indianas of the future play.
But but Mike, look what they did though. They Indiana comes in. They went, oh yeah, great Indiana, and we're going to give you Notre Dame in a one spot where you got to go, where it's probably the most lopsided place for anybody to play whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna send you to South Bend. We're not gonna put you on neutral field. We're gonna put you where the whole student body and the team's gonna be all gassed up. James Franklin's going to have smoke coming off the top of his head, and they're going to be, they're going to be all brimstone and fire at that point in time. It's just freaking ridiculous. I'm like, how the hell I get in the playoff and you send me into the Lions den? There's no incentive for being in the first round.
The home and away in this round only is kind of silly. Just for this round.
Yeah.
When it's all like made up, who gets which number.
You
got to go to Penn State. You got to go to Notre Dame.
The social studies teacher hinted at a conspiracy?
Yes. Hell yeah. I'm down. I've lived down south where in the wintertime it doesn't get below 45 degrees, and you send me to Ohio State off the lake. What the hell is going on? I mean, this was pure crap.
It was a sham.
And I know all of ESPN's going to sit up and talk about how great it was to be on campus and get that feel and what it's like. No, it sucks. I want a good game. I could care less about Notre Dame being able to have another weekend to get drunk in front of Touchdown Jesus and be hypocritical. I don't want that crap. I want a good game. That's what I want.
All right. So fans in segment 2, sorry, Coach Franchise. We're going to go through the rest of the bowl games, give some quick predictions if they care, because we've got a show to do. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project and author of Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. This book is your key to unlocking the secrets of being a successful student athlete. Drawing from my 30-year career as a teacher and coach, this instructional guide offers a unique perspective on achieving success in both academics and athletics. with over 15 personal stories and insightful anecdotes. Finding the Balance is a must-read for student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators. Visit www.ckasafeproject.org to get your copy and start finding the balance today. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 2. We're going to go through bowls. So look, on Thursday, December 26th, we've got the Game of Bubs Sports Bowl, Pitt versus Toledo. I actually have Toledo winning against Pitt. And throughout the segment, I'm going to just see if people chime in with anything, and I'm not thinking they're chiming in on much. We also have the Rate Bowl on December 26th, Kansas State against Rutgers. Shout out to friend of the show, Dr. Lisa Rubens at Kansas State. Rutgers is not very good. Kansas State should beat them. Let's go K-State.
Did you say Rate Bowl?
Yes.
Rate.
Rate.
Oh, okay.
Rate.
I was
Rate.
like, whoa.
Rate.
I was like, what is this? The Baylor Bowl?
Also, stop it. Also, the 68 Ventures Bowl is on December 26th. Arkansas State against Bowling Green. A little bit of action.
Can't wait to see that.
Let's go with Bowling Green
Yep.
over Arkansas State.
Wow.
Friday, December 27th, the Armed Forces Bowl, Navy versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma better not lose the Navy. We're going to go Oklahoma. We've got the Birmingham Bowl, Georgia Tech against Vanderbilt. Congratulations to Diego Pavia for winning another year of eligibility. Well, let's go, Vandy. I think they can beat Georgia Tech.
Yeah, nothing says bowl like going to Birmingham for bowl season. Wow. Okay.
All right. The Liberty Bowl, Classic Bowl, Texas Tech versus Arkansas. SEC better not lose the Big 12, so let's go Arkansas. The Classic Holiday Bowl, Washington State against Syracuse. Syracuse has quietly had a good season, and so has Washington State, but Washington State fell off at the end. Let's go Syracuse. Let's go Orange. Shout out to Brendan Strawn, friend of the show and Hood College alum. The Las Vegas Bowl, USC against Texas A&M. I'm going to go Texas A&M over USC because I'm not a fan of Lincoln Riley. That's it.
Hey, USC, they lost everybody to the transfer portal, too.
Hey, I was about to say, do they have a team?
They don't have enough. They don't have enough to play the game.
I was about to say, do they have a team? I was checking on that one.
All right. Saturday, December 28th, the Fenway Bowl, UConn football against North Carolina in the last game before the Bill Belichick era.
Let's say, the big thing about that bowl, hey, we want to be like the Yankees because there's a Pinstripe Bowl, so let's have a Fenway Bowl. Yeah.
Didn't North Carolina lose to JMU by like 70?
Yeah, JMU.
Yes.
And didn't
they
UConn lose to a bad Maryland team by like 50?
Yeah,
And
yes.
This is why no one cares, Keith. Why no one cares about all the stuff we're talking about right now.
Hey, they're going to try to impress Coach Bill, Chapel Bill. We're going to go with North Carolina as Chapel Bill gets to evaluate talent.
This would be better if they just said to hell with it, let them play basketball game against each other.
All right, and speaking of that, Pinstripe Bowl, we've got Boston College taking on Nebraska. Two pro football coaches going head up. That's a tough one for me. I'm just not a fan of the ACC, even though it had a good year. Nebraska should win that. We're going to go with Matt Rule in that one. Hey, Robert, we've got the New Mexico Bowl, TCU against Louisiana. Those Raging Cajuns are good. Let's go with an upset with the Raging Cajuns in the New Mexico Bowl. We've got the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Miami versus Iowa State. Miami, you better win because you talked a lot of trash, so let's go with Miami in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And fellas, I don't know if you know this, but the championship trophy, you can actually make Pop-Tarts in the championship trophy. How about that nugget? Does that make you care?
What flavor?
It doesn't matter.
Why is Cam Ward playing in this game?
Yeah, I don't have no idea.
Hey, Mike King, you start a task, you end the task.
If he gets hurt, it costs him millions. If he wins, he has a trophy that he doesn't even get to keep that you can make Pop-Tarts from.
Mike's upset.
What are we doing?
Look, Mike's upset because he's hoping Cam Ward goes to the Giants. So that's
no, I want Sanders. I don't want Cam.
The Arizona Bowl, Colorado State versus Miami of Ohio. and that fans is on the CW network. So look at the CW getting big bowl games. Let's go Colorado State.
Hey, fans, when you're looking for a time to go to the bathroom or get something to eat, that's it.
The Military Bowl, North Carolina State versus East Carolina, the Pirates. North Carolina State underperformed all year, but they can't lose to an in-state school, so they've got to beat them. North Carolina's coming to the Military Bowl. The Alamo Bowl, and yes, they are playing. Colorado versus BYU. If the Heisman Trophy winner is playing, we're going with Colorado, even though historically speaking, Heisman Trophy winners don't do well in bowl games.
You got two of the top 3 picks in the draft. What are you doing to play BYU? What are you doing? You're coach. You're the dad. You got to say to your son, "Listen, Dad, don't play this game. That's more important than coach me."
What about
Dad
finishing with your
take over? Dad Prime has to take over. We're talking millions and millions. He's going to make more in year 1 than Deion made in his career.
George, what about you're my guy, and we fought together and so forth. Mike doesn't know about that. He played tennis. That's an independent sport. You got to say play right.
If I was Prime right now, I'd have him and everybody else, both of them, and anybody else that was NFL ready, sitting this game out.
Bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap.
What am I playing? What am I playing them for? What am I playing them for? I'm playing them for your amusement. I mean, the check.
Are we not amused?
The check has already been sent to Colorado for accepting the bowl. Well, you know what? If I was Deion, I'd play the kid from California, the number 2 quarterback.
No, he's not eligible yet.
I'd play him.
All right. Independence Bowl, Army, top 25 in the country, playing Marshall. I got to go with the Black Knights of Army.
There we go. Well, Marshall doesn't have a team either, or a coach, so we don't know what's going to show up.
Wait, Marshall is not doing it. I forgot the team.
Yeah,
that is already replacing them. Sorry about that. I still got Army because some 5 and 7 teams replacing them. My bad. All right, Monday, December 30th, the Music City Bowl, Iowa against Missouri again. SEC should not lose to Iowa, so I'm going to go with Missouri.
One of the best bowls to get drunk at.
Okay. Tuesday, December 31st, the Reliant Quest Bowl, Michigan versus Alabama, 12 noon on ESPN. Alabama
and who
not
cares?
Losing to Michigan. Alabama is not losing to Michigan. 2 big brands going at it at noon on New Year's Eve. Also on New Year's Eve, the Sun Bowl, Louisville versus Washington, ACC versus Big Ten. I'm going to go with Louisville on that one. Louisville underperformed this year, so I think they can beat Washington. In the Citrus, go ahead.
That was the Big East versus the Pac-12. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You just reminded people watching the show that those teams were in those conferences. No one knows.
Just stop it. All right, Citrus Bowl, South Carolina versus Illinois. Illinois quietly had a very good season, but I got to go with South Carolina. The Texas Bowl, Baylor against LSU. Brian Kelly can't lose, so we got to go with LSU. He can't go back.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true,
man.
That's not true because he ain't gonna have. Half his team ain't gonna be playing, so we don't know what's gonna happen. And plus, Ryan Kelly was probably out all night the night before Riverwalk, so we don't know him and the wife. So anything's possible.
So New Year's Day, we've got the big college football playoff game. So now we're going to go Thursday, January 2nd. By the way, we got to go back to work that day. In the Gator Bowl, we've got Duke versus Ole Miss, 7:30. Shout out to the Moore family. Paint Branch is own, but I got Ole Miss because Lane Kiffin talked a lot of trash. Okay, so
we got Duke football in one of your premier bowl games. And I mean, Duke football is one of your last 3 bowl games that you got that isn't in the tournament. That just shows now that we have the tournament, which is great. None of this stuff matters. We used to say it didn't matter, but actually watched it. No one's watching any of these games. Nobody. We got a playoff. No one cares.
And Duke's going to beat Ole Miss. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's how bad it is.
Okay.
That's where we are.
Friday, January 3rd in the First Responder Bowl, North Texas versus Texas State. Wish I had Robert on this. The First Responder Bowl, George. First Responder. Let's
People
go
in,
North.
people in Texas aren't watching this game.
Texas State is going to win. We're going to go with Texas State on that. And then Mike King's favorite bowl.
I like the Mayo Bowl.
Wait a minute. Before we get to Duke's Mayo Bowl, that last First Responders Bowl, why don't you just send them a check, their union a check or whatever? Who cares? Who cares? What are they going to have?
Talking to franchise too much, man. All right, the Duke Mayo Bowl. We've got Minnesota, who again quietly has had a good season, versus Virginia Tech, who's underperformed all year. I got to go with Minnesota on that one.
Nobody likes mayonnaise. You get it dumped on your head.
This isn't a game. This is a YouTube short where you see the coach get the mayo dumped in the head, and you go, "Oh, it's a good bowl game." All right, move on.
I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see Joey Chestnut show up and
George,
start talking about how much he
loves mayonnaise. Roman Reigns dips mayonnaise.
That's why
French fries and mayonnaise.
Yeah, and that's why he's getting over leukemia. We got Joey Chestnut showing up to see how many jars of mayonnaise he can eat. This is the stupidest thing. Anyway, go ahead, man.
And finally,
thank God.
January 4th, the Bahamas Bowl, Buffalo versus Liberty, 11 a.m. I'm going to go with Buffalo over Liberty.
The one bowl I would want to be in. This is the one bowl I want to go to every year. If I'm a coach and I'm not making the playoff, I'm requesting this bowl every year.
The winner of this bowl is the degenerate gamblers who want to start their football at 11 a.m. That's it.
And get to watch thong bikinis on the beach all afternoon. I'm on this one. Forget this. Forget this crap. I'm going to Bahama Bowl.
We have done our annual bowl preview.
Coach, I accept the Bahama Bowl bid now.
So in segment 3, NCAA loses again in court. We've got our administrator here. We've got our union guy here. We're going to talk about it. We'll be right back on the iCoach.
My ties, flowered shirt.
This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Safe Project, with a question for you. Are you passionate about supporting student athletes? If so, then become an official member of the CKA Safe Project and make a difference today. With your membership, you'll be able to help us provide essential academic and athletic support to underserved communities nationwide. Join us in empowering student athletes to achieve their full potential, both on and off the field. Together, we can build a brighter future through education and sports. Visit ckasafeproject.org and choose your membership level now. $25 is a bronze level membership, $50 is a silver level membership, and $100 is a gold level membership. Be a part of the change. Become a member of the CKA Safe Project today. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. A ruling happened that has shook up the college football world and the college basketball world, and we talked about it yesterday, and we're going to talk about it from the football perspective today. Let's go, JUCO. Slow down. So, briefly, here's what happened. Last week, a federal judge granted an injunction giving Vanderbilt's Diego Pavia an extra year of eligibility that he sought. So if he hits the right number at Vanderbilt, he'll come back to Vanderbilt. If not, he'll go somewhere else. But that was the issue. Pavia exhausted his eligibility after playing 2 years of junior college and 3 years of Division I. NCAA athletes get 5 calendar years to play 4 seasons. Junior college counts as a season of play, and that policy is at the heart of the issue. So, what's a preliminary injunction? Most lawsuits seek monetary damages, and Diego legitimately could make at least $1 million next year if he played. So as a result of this rule, he said he would have, undue wrong done to him. He asked the NCAA to grant a waiver. The NCAA said no. He said, I'll take you to court, and he won. So now we've got all of this extra going on. And what does this mean for junior college athletes? It's just an injunction, folks, and it's really only dealing with Diego Pavia. They are going to go through the legal process and then see what happens. But at the heart of the matter, junior college is in JCAA, and they're saying you should have 2 years of eligibility for that and 4 years of eligibility for the NCAA. That's pretty much the heart of the story. We ask everybody to read the whole thing, but the NCAA keeps taking L's in court. Mike, you're my regular guy. Legal, Beagle, we go to you for all the union stuff. When this came across your desk, what were your thoughts, sir?
After COVID, they saw people playing until they were 700 years old, and they thought, here's a new way to get people to be playing college sports at the age of 700. I mean, again, we got teams at 25 and 26-year-olds, and it's interesting because, I mean, you get more into it in basketball, but like it's changing how coaches are going to be recruiting. Why would I recruit 18-year-olds who might leave at age 19, 20 if they don't get playing time when I can get grown men who are ready to play, and they might not be as good at the end of their careers as the kids I could recruit, but why am I recruiting someone who's going to take me 3 years? I'll just get guys out of junior college if this is the case. I don't know. I think it's great for the students. It gives more opportunity, but as far as like the product, I think a lot of these rulings makes things worse for the kids in high school. Because if I'm a coach, I'm not wasting my time with you. I'll get you in 2 years. I'm not wasting my time. I'm not begging a junior in high school to see ya. I'll talk to you when you get tired of wherever you're at. I'll get you on the back end.
George, you're my athletic director. You've dealt with this in your athletic director career. When you saw all of this happening, what did you think?
Well, first, let's look at it like this. It's just a ruling that goes towards Diego Pavia at this point in time. But if the case does go through and it does get ruled in his favor, you have to worry because now that's going to be a precedent for every other case that comes down. Let's remember, a lot of these kids are in junior college for a reason. It's not always because of grades or some trouble they got into. They're there for a reason. Okay. So the windfall is not going to be of athletes coming back into Division I is not going to be as ground shaking as you think it's going to be. But that being said, it does throw another monkey wrench in your high school senior and him getting the opportunity to get a college scholarship. The number of scholarships that are going to be headed to high school seniors is now going to start to be a limited thing with the transfer portal. And if you're going to let JUCO student athletes get a whole nother year, it cuts into them. Back before all of this took place, when the NCAA was allowed to be greedy and get away with the money and everything, you had what we used to call backup. Okay, I could have, and Nick Saban was a master of this. I could have a 5-star kid or a great athlete sitting down, playing, and I could have another one who was a sophomore sitting on the bench. So if my one that's a senior gets hurt, I can bring the sophomore in. He's more than ready, but I can bring him in now, and he gets his little bit of time to shine. We're not going to have that anymore. It's not going to be that. It's not, you're not going to see that. You're going to see a lot of teams, which then causes a lot of parity to happen. And you start seeing it now. It's just going to wind up getting worse. Now, coaches that know how to navigate this is what scares you or should scare everybody about Bill Belichick taking over in North Carolina. He knows how to navigate a system where it's pay to play. So because he's done it forever in the NFL, coaches that have NFL experience are going to come in. They're going to know how to operate under these circumstances or in these guidelines because they've been involved in. That's what the pro world is about. So how they go about giving out the NIL money and how it gets delivered, how it gets distributed is going to be extremely important in the recruiting process. So that's going to be, you'll see that happen. So we have a change of landscape. And I know all these pundits are going to run around talking about college football is killing college football, it's killing amateur athletics. No, what's killed amateur athletics was the NCAA. They killed it years ago. And what you're seeing now is the end result of them and their greed. And now, since we're now where we got a lot of the kids getting a piece of the pie, now it becomes a problem. It's funny how the institution wasn't the problem back in the day, but now that the kids are getting the money, it's a problem. But no, it's just a two-way thing. Now they got to restructure the rules, and that's why I said NCAA is going to go away. They're going to start their own way of handling this, and it'll work itself out.
As franchise likes to say, it's not fun when the rabbit has the gun. But this situation is just another reminder. And yes, you know where I'm going, and you're all going to say, yeah, it's fantasy land. The further schools moved away from their academic requirements, which was the cleanest way to keep it under control, the more they get in this trouble. And Mike will tell you, nobody should ever want to go to court because there's a chance you can lose. And the NCAA continues to lose in court. And let's talk about it. In the West Virginia ruling, the association basically changed the transfer rules to adhere to a court's decision. In the Tennessee NIL case, for the most part, it stopped enforcing investigating cases. And in Pavia's situation, all they asked for was an extended year based on these circumstances, and no. And George remembers it was cream cheese on a bagel. We just wanted something to eat. That's all. Feed us better. And now look at what you got. So I don't feel bad for you at all. And figure it out. And the answers to most questions is get better or do better. And each individual student athlete needs to understand their situation. And that's why CK is here, to have independent people talk to each individual person and say, what's best for you? Mike, any closing thoughts before we wrap up this week?
Glad we got a playoff. Don't care about the blowouts. Playoff is still 12, still better than 4. It's just better. Keep it going. Don't overreact next year. Don't screw it up. Let's get some Cinderellas. Maybe they win it eventually. Just don't put them in horrible. Oh, here, you get to play in this 100,000 stadium, which is 80,000 more than you've seen all year. Like, that kind of stuff's a little bit nonsense, but that could be a neutral. Besides that, everything else about it's good.
Okay. Final words, sir.
Glad that it's 12. I'm with Mike, and I said it before because I was screaming this to you on the phone. They need to play these games in neutral sites. Don't just because I get a chance to get in does not mean I have to go to the shoe and play in 100 against at 14 degrees in front of 175,000 people. Send me to the Bahamas. Can I have the Bahama Bowl for the first round?
You would say use these other bowls that nobody cares about as the opening round.
Yeah.
But George, what about the other teams that earned bowl games, and those seniors and those kids should have an opportunity to close their season in a tremendous atmosphere and
make another bowl. You got 75. You're gonna make, everybody wants a bowl anyway, so just make it. Everybody's down to give money, so just make another bowl. But yes, I'd use established bowls for the playoff games, so it could be at least. And then the kids can get the opportunity to be on a neutral site because I'd rather see SMU and Penn State in the one stadium in the Bahamas versus it being at Happy Valley at a whiteout. So with that, and the other thing I have on the way out is I don't see in as we go football with the Pavia situation, it's going to affect a handful of kids, but as you go with other sports, it's probably not going to be but so big of an impact. So we'll see. The big thing, though, is interesting, where it's going to be funny, is where it drops, because you're taking the kids, and I know what Pavi is saying, he didn't get the opportunity to make that money. And that's where the precipice of it is. It's going to be interesting to see where kids come in, the effect this is going to have on JUCO. If the red shirt rule comes back, there's going to be a couple things here that's going to be worth noticing or worth seeing how this shakes out. So,
all right, and I think that's a great way to close. So on behalf of our Cavalcade of Stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we'll see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.